Which AI tool is best at doing deep research? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Google Gemini? Is it Claude? That's what we're going to find out in this video. To test deep research across these three tools, we're going to be focusing on job interview prep. You want to have every possible advantage when you get a job interview. You want to be ready. You want to know the correct tone and style, what to focus on, what not to focus on, experience from people who have interviewed here before, the things that leaders in the company really care about, a deep understanding of the culture. This is complex. You would have to spend a lot of time researching to figure this stuff out. So let's start with the instructions. AI tools now can help us research almost anything, but research is only the first step. And thanks to the sponsor for this video, Murica AI, music is a great way to do that. Murica turns prompts into really catchy music. And music is great to listen to, but it can also play a very important role in memory. I'll bet many of the basic things that you know, you learned because of songs. That's why we learned the alphabet song. It makes it easier to remember. When I was growing up, there were these cartoon music videos called Schoolhouse Rock. I still remember conjunction junction. What's your function? I know what a conjunction is because of that song. Okay, so let's go to the builder here, and I created some lyrics. Now, you can generate lyrics if you want. I created lyrics because I want very specifically to create a song about conditionals, a blend of swing and blues, like Schoolhouse Rock.
For a little conditional, so son, the most useful grammar in town. When you touch a stove, you burn. When you miss your sleep, zero always stays so true.
That is very good. That is very good. With Murica's premium features, you can export high-quality MP3s and build your own library of tracks that you can listen to offline anytime. If you want to try it for yourself, there's an exclusive link at the top of the description below this video. You can sign up for free and claim your credits right now. All right, back to the video. Okay, let's start with Claude. So here is the research task. I'm not going to read every word of this. I have a job interview at Stripe for a product marketing manager role in 2 weeks. Build me a deep linguistic and cultural profile of how this company communicates so that I can sound like someone who already belongs there. By the way, a great idea as you prepare for an interview, especially when the job market is so competitive. We're going to ask for it to, and this is really the value of deep research, that it's going to look through many sources and pull real useful things into a single report. Pull from their last 4 shareholder and annual letters, about and values pages. So we have a lot of different things we have to look through, right? So if you just ask a question to any AI tool, it could very easily just look at one thing or make something up you don't know. So you have to have the sources, and it's good to have it in one place. Even better if it's easy to read at the end and not a giant wall of words. If it's well formatted, I think that matters too. But we don't want to stop there. We also want to pull from blog posts, the LinkedIn posts of 3 senior product or marketing leaders. And then I think very critically for an interview, recent interview reports for this role on Glassdoor and Reddit. So you want the company side of things, but you also want the interviewee side of things, people who have been interviewed, whether they made it or not. Blind is another one that's good for research on companies and especially interview questions. And then this is what we want. Now, I'm just going to go through this one time because I'm going to do the exact same thing for all of these, for Claude, for ChatGPT, and Gemini. So here I'm not just asking for a list of things that you're telling me, but some analysis as well to analyze to find patterns. That is also very useful. What do they value? Clarity versus boldness, precision versus vision, builder voice versus operator voice. 2, the 7 most frequently reported interview questions for this role. That would be something that you would hopefully maybe get on Reddit or Blind. For each of those 7 questions, a sample answer in the company's house style. Now, to be clear, I'm not suggesting that you just take that verbatim. It's nice to have a sample that you can look at, learn from, and then, of course, say your own thing, right? Learn to say what you want to say in the interview in that style, obviously. 3 things to avoid saying based on observed company values or interview reports. And then 1 question I should ask the interviewer that signals I did this level of homework. And you are doing this level of homework. You're just not manually doing it, looking at every page. You're doing it the smart way. All right. Okay. Claude is working on that. Now we open up good old deep research here. I could have it uploaded to Google Drive as a Google Doc. It's really just where it lands. I'm okay to just open it inside of ChatGPT and then maybe download it as a PDF. And I can have it search specific sites. So if I want it to search certain sites, I can add them. I'm going to let it do its thing. ChatGPT used to do pretty generic follow-up questions you'd have to answer. And honestly, I don't know if it added a lot of value. So I'm kind of glad that they do it this way now. They give you basically a plan. Collect Stripe's shareholder letters, annual letters, basically the request. And they just lay it out in, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm good, so I'm okay to start that research. Now we go into good old Google Gemini. Same thing. It has sources, search, Gmail, Drive. I'll just let it use, Google if it wants to, of course. And this is an option for me to upload my own files. You can honestly do that for any of them if something is really relevant. I don't think it's relevant in this case. I don't see how, for example, if I'm really searching for this role or I really want to get this role, I don't really see how my resume or something would change the research. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Okay, so this is just the plan. Similar to what ChatGPT does, it's just a plan. And you can edit the plan or you can click start. There we go. By the way, I will put that prompt in the description in case you are working on searching for a job. I think it's a good idea, especially if you're preparing for an interview. I'll put that in the description. Feel free to use it. Of course, change the role and all that stuff, but it works pretty well. All right, about 20 minutes later, we have Gemini, we have Claude, and it looks like ChatGPT is still chugging away. Go ChatGPT, go. What I want to see is, number 1, quality and depth of information. Right? If it's not much richer and deeper and more complete than just using the basic search function within any of these tools, then why are we doing deep research, right? So I gave it a very complex problem with many parts to push that capability. But number 2, I want to see how it's laid out. What can I do with it once I have it? How intuitive is it to go through and understand? I want it to be convenient and useful immediately, right? So, okay, let's start with Gemini here. We have a table of contents that kind of pops up here, and I like that. Lexical and institutional ethos, a cultural and linguistic profile of Stripe for product marketing practitioners. Okay, so fine. It's very, it's a little technical, but okay. Stripe's official communication is defined by a low entropy style, maximizing information density while minimizing rhetorical ornament. I'm just looking at this from a standpoint of a job interview prep, and I'm not sure how actionable any of that is, but hey, this is the intro part. Stripe's preference for clarity through writing is a foundational cultural signal. The company prioritizes long-form prose over meetings or slides. That's good information. Believing that the act of writing forces a level of rigor that verbal communication lacks. Yeah, this is becoming a bit more useful as interview prep. The use of deterministic language, words like programmable, further underscores the company's engineering-led ethos. Economic infrastructure, technical legibility, macro optimism, micro detail, exothermic. Okay, so this is what's being signaled by this language, and this is what it means, ensuring marketing is useful and accurate for developers. Okay, now we have those professional attributes. Annual updates, that's from a different page, the annual letters. Okay, that's good. Clarity over boldness. Stripe's mission is vast, its claims are measured. It prefers a clear description of a 4% lift in authorization rates over a bold claim about revolutionizing finance. That makes sense. I like that. That's very actionable. That's useful. Centrality of users first, how they put users first, a breakdown of that. Create with craft and beauty. This principle signals an aesthetic and intellectual commitment to excellence that extends beyond mere functionality. Users first, craft and beauty, urgency and focus, stay curious, obsess over talent. So they have a high talent bar. It looks like there's a bit of a narrative evolution from 2022 to 2025. Here's the focus from 2022 to 2023, 2024 to 2025, and then by 2025, Stripe's volume reached 1.9 trillion, equivalent to 1.6% of global GDP. Whoa, really? That's crazy. Wow. Background information, right? Knowing about the company, knowing about the culture, knowing a bit about the history of the vision. Emily Glassberg-Sands, The Economics of the Token Economy. She has introduced several critical frameworks for the AI era. Again, very useful stuff. I like how it's broken down. I like how the sources are not in your face, but you can click down and see. The language, the vision, this is great as interview prep. I have to say, this is excellent. I was a little concerned at the beginning because of maybe the type of language used by the report to explain things. But I think if you said what I want, right, the result that I want is simple and clear language, then that would go away. I think that was a prompt issue. Okay, so we have the sample answer, differentiating digital versus product marketing. Okay, so this is very good. So these are the questions, and here's the explanation. The interview process for a Stripe PMM is described as intentionally messy and rigorous. 3 things to avoid saying: avoid corporate fluff and marketing buzzwords, cynicism and short-termism, avoid not my problem and hierarchical thinking. The table of contents is cool. I can export it. And the other really cool thing is I can create other things with it. If I want to listen to a version of it, I could create an audio overview, an infographic, a web page. So that is very cool. ChatGPT is still working. Holy crap. All right, so let's look at Claude's report here. Speaking like Stripe, we're not going to go through in as much detail here. We're just going to get a sense for it here. A linguistic and cultural field guide for the product marketing manager interview. Bottom line up front: to win a Stripe PMM loop in 2 weeks, mirror the company's distinctive operator builder voice. Declarative sentences anchored in specific user revenue metrics. Increase the GDP of the internet. We've heard that. Oh, a nice TLDR. I love that. Too long, didn't read. Giving me the high-level stuff before I get into the specifics. I really like that. If you ask me if I would rather have a table of contents that's clickable or a TLDR, I think I'd go with the TLDR because a table of contents is just the headings. The TLDR is giving me the information very briefly and succinctly. House styles, same thing. Similar structure. Increase the GDP of the internet. These are Stripeisms. Internet economy, surprisingly great. There are some things here that I don't remember seeing in the Google one, so maybe a bit more depth. I don't know. 2024 letter compares stablecoins to the transitions from coins to banknotes. Okay, I'm trying to look at it again from, hey, I'm preparing for an interview. Am I getting what I need to prepare for an interview? Clarity and boldness. That's not quite what Gemini said. 2024 was a good year for the internet economy, backed immediately by a precise number. I feel like it's more kind of analyzing Stripe as a company, and it's so far not feeling as much contextualized for me for a job interview, which I feel like Gemini gave me a really good feel for the whole thing that I need, the whole picture. It's not quite giving me an intuitive feel for, okay, so how do I prepare for this interview? How do I talk in this interview? I'm not getting a very intuitive feeling for that. Compiled from Glassdoor Stripe PMM interview reports, blind threads on Stripe PMs and PMMs, take-home GTM assignment, put together a go-to-market plan. Okay, so getting an assignment. How would you position this to a target segment? Walk me through how you'd identify the most important customer insights from a data set. Okay, so common questions and challenges given to Stripe employees from these websites. That's useful. Good. Sample answers. The launch that taught me the most was the GTM for our usage-based billing tier. So the context, 3.1% of our pipeline was AI native startups, but our packaging assumed seat-based SaaS. Okay. Is that how we talk? I don't know. Do people talk like that? Doesn't feel very talky. Avoid generic B2B marketing vocabulary, especially delight, world-class, moving the needle, disrupt, and brand love. Avoid talking about customers or merchants as a single buyer persona without showing you understand Stripe's two-sided structure. Avoid being neutral or skeptical about Stripe's stablecoin or agentic commerce bets. It gives me a good picture of the tone of Stripe, I think, the way that people communicate there. I don't personally feel like I have something I can immediately take action with as I prepare for my interview. So I definitely prefer the Gemini report to this. Download as Markdown, download as PDF. Okay, ChatGPT better be done. Okay, ChatGPT's done. Hallelujah. 38 minutes. Does that mean it's better? Not necessarily. We don't need to download it. Let's just open it up. You can download it, but I'm just going to open it up. Okay, just looking through this, a little wall of wordsy, compared to... Wait, is this it? Is that it? Or is this just the executive summary? Oh, that's it. That's it. Well, this better be really good. Stripe's official communications are factual and concise. Messaging emphasizes measurable results and mission. For example, their letters and posts reference the company's role in the internet economy and seek to increase the GDP of the internet. They avoid vague superlatives, focusing instead on clear statements of value. Okay, I mean, that's good. That's actionable, clear, and very concise, boldly concise. Stripe's voice reflects the culture, collaborative, ambitious, and user-centered. Interview questions and sample answers. Oh, well, we're jumping right to that. Okay. Explain something complex simply. I would translate Stripe's technical products into everyday terms. For example, I might compare online payments. Tell me about a time you led a go-to-market launch. Okay, does this come from the same... I'm curious about these sources here. Stripe's mission, values. Where are these interview questions coming from? Are these being sourced from... That's from Stripe. Comparably, Stripe's mission. Okay. Didn't look at nearly as many sources, it seems. In-group phrases. We haven't won yet. Be meticulous about the foundations. Disagree and commit. Really, really, really care. Not saying they're wrong, just a bit different. Things to avoid saying. Boasting or suggesting finality. Different. Ignoring users or data. Okay, that was there. Flowery hype or cliches, like best in class. Well, this is very simple, and it's definitely not enough. It's shockingly, for 38 minutes, 11 citations only, 0 searches, really surprising. For that much work. I don't know, this seems just very limited, and if it was really dense, short but dense, and wow, I understand everything and I have everything I need, I would say, okay, it's really short, but it's really good and really dense and very complete. You get some good information there on the style and the ethos, the tone, the kinds of things that they care about at Stripe. But do I have a full picture of, hey, I feel like I can get ready for this interview using this research? Well, what I did here using these settings, no, which is surprising given that it did 38 minutes worth of research. Okay, so pretty clearly, Gemini wins by a mile. Completeness, understanding what I'm really after, which is to get a picture of this company as I prepare for my interview, and how it's laid out, how the sources are laid out, how complete the search was, what I can do after it's done. Then second place, I guess, has to be Claude. Claude did okay, but again, not as complete. Kind of missed the point, I think, a little bit, focusing a little too much on language and not enough on I'm preparing for a job interview, which was the subtext of my request. And then, not sure what happened here. I've had good reports from ChatGPT before, pretty complete, and this ain't it. Maybe I just need to try again using Thinking Extended instead of Instant, possibly? I don't know, try it out for yourself. For me, the big surprise is how good Gemini's deep research has become. It's very good. It's good. If I was going to change one thing, it would probably be saying